Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 show to bring you all things Club America in English. Your hosts for today, Ivan Pineda, Christian Rosendo, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Let's start the show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today we have quite the episode because we're going to be talking about that fantastic 4-0 win that America had against Xolos. We'll be previewing this Friday's match against Necaxa, and we're going to be talking about Our Lady Aguilas. Of course, the schedule is out. Some key matches that intrigue us have finally found themselves a date, and we got much more to talk about in regards to all of that. New transfer and all of that good stuff. But before I get ahead of myself, as always, let me introduce my co-host, New York's favorite resident, Christian Rosendo, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm doing great, Ivan. Had a little bit of a storm yesterday, but everything's in good peace though. I hope everyone's doing well. Staying safe, wearing their mask, and I'm excited to talk about everything Club America today.
Definitely. Dylan, how is it over there in Texas? You get any weather anomalies or no?
No, unless it's getting hot. I mean, we're close to breaking some record temperatures right now, but I mean, it's hot. It's Texas. I don't think there's any rain in sight at the moment, but we'll see where it takes us.
Nice. Well, everything calm over there in Texas. Not so calm over in New York, and we're going to go back over to New York because we have a returning guest onto today's show. Again, it's Christian's neighbor from the other side of the block. It's none other than AJ himself. AJ, how are we?
I'm doing good, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. Happy to have you again here, and excited to hear what you got to say in regards to the Lady Aguilas. I know you're gonna keep us up to date whenever we do get to that segment. So excited to have you back onto the show, and I know we're ready to kick things off. So if you gentlemen are ready to start off, why don't we talk about that amazing 4-0 victory that America had against Xolos?
Let's do it.
Alrighty, let's get started. Well, America surprised all of us after they took on Xolos Squinkles on Saturday over in Estadio CU in a match, Christian, in which we kind of weren't too confident that America was going to walk away with all 3 points. But nevertheless, they definitely kind of, took this different approach. I don't know if it was because Xolos maybe didn't bring the high pressure the way Cesar kind of anticipated that they were. Mm-hmm. But I was curious to kind of pick your brain. What do you think America did well in this matchup, and why do you think the scoreline was as high as it was?
Well, for starters, I think America, finally got to play a really good, well-based team. They were very focused on whatever they needed to do. They were very organized, especially in the back line. I think this is one of the better games for all of the 4 back line men. A good game from Bruno Valdez, a good game from Cáceres as well. Once again, even Luis Reyes had one of his better games today. So I think overall it was a good defensive game. I think it starts from there. You move up a little bit, and I think this is one of also Gonzalez's best game with the Club America shirt. He was everywhere, even though he was a little bit of a quiet guy. But that's kind of his thing, though, kind of being quiet but making those plays that are game changing. And you see that in the first goal. So definitely one of his better games. I'm usually one of the guys who really don't. Yeah, I don't think he's America made, but in this game he definitely proved me wrong. And again, we got to tip our hats off to Roger Martinez once again being, in my opinion, the best player once again for America. And if he continues this form, I think America can shape up to be a pretty good team this season.
No, yeah, definitely. And I kind of want to touch up on what you said in regards to the defense. I think this is a game in which America showcased that they had some solidarity in the back. And a player that we definitely have highlighted before is Cáceres, right? This new kid, Cáceres, having to come in and kind of take his place with Aguilera out. And for the first time, I had no complaints about him. He was very, very composed whenever he had to go in a 1v1 situation. And he just looked very, very good and comfortable. And he looked, at ease with Bruno Valdez as his partner. And everything just kind of seemed to connect. And I think from then on, America was able to build from the back and find some solidarity going forward. And then, just kind of, jumping lines just exactly as things go. But it wasn't to say that America had the perfect start. Now, AJ, America had a penalty that was called back because of an offside from Cholos. But how did you see America's first opening minutes? Did you find it a little bit shaky, or did you think, okay, this is typical of America, at least, the first couple of games?
I feel like this is just typical of America, where the first opening minutes, they're just trying to get themselves situated, see what's going on around them. Like, yeah, they do make some couple mistakes in the back with the defense, but along the way, they just start to wake up and just tell everyone, okay, let's actually, let's play for real. Let's get serious now. Let's get some goals. Like, especially for the penalty, I was worried when that penalty got call, but then we saw the offside. So I guess that was probably America's wake up call to say, like, it's early on, it's Cholos, but we still need to put our 110% into the game. Especially in the first, like, really boring until Richard Sanchez scored that wonderful golazo. And then by the second half, it's like, all right, let's keep this momentum going. So I feel like Richard Sanchez's goal happened to wake everyone up from America, and then which resulted in 3 goals in the second half.
No, yeah, definitely. I think you put it perfectly too. It's Richard Sanchez's goal woke up, I would say, the entire stadium if there was actually people there. I don't know about you guys. I'm not a huge fan of those virtual fans. It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something new.
It's blocky.
It's
Like it's I don't know.
I don't know.
Do then and do better. But ultimately, I think AJ is right. Richard Sanchez's goal opens up the score sheet, but I think the caliber of the goal, I think, really wakes the team up. We were showing glimpse of, almost getting towards Jonathan Orozco's goal. And sometimes you need a wonder goal like that to kind of wake things up. So, I mean, the half ends, Dylan, and then, America goes in, you're leading 1-0, but this still doesn't seem like an America side that's going to come out and score 3 goals, especially how skeptical we've been about this team, because we've always said America managing leads just kind of doesn't go together.
Yeah, I totally get it too. And, it's kind of like you're mentioning, you had that the Sanchez goal that really woke up everything. I feel like, you did see some good things from this team at times before that goal, but you still wanted to see more. And obviously, we always talk, something that we've always talked about is getting that second goal before halftime to take that goal into half, with some momentum, so you can come out with that momentum back into the second half. And I think too is you see this team kind of build some momentum ending in the first half, and then they come off in the second half and they drop off. Sometimes a little bit, sometimes a lot of bit. So just kind of curious to see how that would play out going into the second half by that point.
No, yeah, definitely. And it played out to just perfection. I think, hats off to everyone, Piojo included, because I think what he told them, they specifically did in the second half. Christian, I don't know what your take was on what you saw in, those last 45 minutes, but I think we saw a well-rounded team that, again, like you mentioned, hats off to Roger, because he was consistent throughout the whole time that he was on the pitch. And I think that's something we wanted to see. Now, of course, he wasn't sprinting down the pitch. He wasn't, lunging at every single tackle, but he was giving us more than what we were used to out of Roger. And, I think if we continue to give him the space to be comfortable and kind of do what he wants to do, I think we're going to see him provide and give us more of what he's been giving us.
No, yeah, 100%. You made 2 points there. The first point you made, I think, hats off to Piojo, because I think, we talk about him having good calls and bad calls. This was definitely a great call. And I think we talked about it last podcast, and we were kind of concerned about, we have a lot of players on the team, but we're not sure if they're America caliber players in terms of our depth. And I think in this game, it showcased that, players like Escobosa, who got an assist in this game, they were reliable in this moment. Even though Oso Gonzalez isn't necessarily a starter, he showed up for us, Chucho Lopez, while I don't think he had the greatest of games, though, he did some things that I did like and he can improve on. This is always a player that we talk about that he can improve on his game. And then going forward, he can be maybe an important player for us. Now, second point you made is Roger Martinez. Like you said, he wasn't, going up and down the field, putting in defensive work and making these crazy plays. But what he was doing is being involved in every single offensive play, whether it be taking a shot or making a good pass or getting 2 dribbles off to start up a play or something. That's the player we need from Roger Martinez, and we need him to be consistent. That's the key word here. We need him to be like this for the whole season, because like I mentioned, I think it was previous podcast as well, that America doesn't really have a player like that who can kind of be a factor in every single game, who knows that's going to show up. That's 2 for 2 for Roger Martinez now, and we have a game against Necaxa, which I'm pretty sure he will be starting. So, the momentum just keeps building, and we need this momentum right now because, like Ivan, you keep reiterating, this is quote unquote the easier part of the season. And as the season goes along and we get into those more difficult games, we're going to need the confidence from the whole team, and especially from one of our star players like Roger Martinez.
No, yeah, definitely. And so, I mean, America, finds the second goal, and things starting to look better. And then all of a sudden, some changes are being made. And then, of course, Henry Martin comes in, and then he bags himself 2 goals. AJ, what kind of statement is Henry Martin making after being, coming in, finding himself bagging 2 goals, in a match in which Viñas didn't even get on the score sheet? What do you think is being said by Henry Martin to Pio Herrera?
I feel like he's just saying, you want to put me in, I can get the job done for you. If none of our forwards are wanting to score a goal, or just anyone in the pitch, matter of fact, he's like, I got you. Just put me in there. I can get you a couple of goals. Like, as you mentioned, 2 goals in the span of 5 minutes. He's kind of saying to Biojo and to everyone else, I'm here. I'm here to help the team out. You need someone to bag in and goals you when you just need more momentum, or you just want to continue just defeating the other team with ease. He's like, I got you. Just put me in. So he did a really good job with him, just proving to himself that he is worthy of staying in this America team. Yeah, I know he's had some previous seasons where he's get into a goal jar or he's just kind of inconsistent, but so far to get himself 2 goals already in 2 games, that's a really good start for Henry, in my opinion. So he's letting Piojo know that I'm your main man to go to. If you want to put me up with Viñas, I'm down for that. You want to put me on the bench, I'm fine with that. You want to sub me in, most definitely, I'll get you the goals.
Definitely interesting. Dylan, how do you agree with what AJ is saying in regards to Henry Martin? Because I know this is a player that is very dear and near to you.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I still think, a lot of people look at it, Henry Martin, and, make him feel underappreciated. Well, so I think him coming out and scoring those 2 goals, even if you look at the first one, just kind of being at the right place at the right time. I still think it's a mistake from Orozco in the end, and Henry Martin's able to capitalize it and tap it in and get his first one. And then, again, it just shows the second goal. I think he knows how to set himself up whenever a cross is going into the box, and, he's able to score that second one. And, I think his confidence right now is at a pretty high. And I think, going to the next match against Necaxa, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts, which we'll talk about later.
No, yeah, definitely. And I think it's definitely going to help Henry Martin if he can kind of be under Viñas' radar, because I think as long as Viñas continues to kind of get kind of the more attention, I think Henry's going to be able to fly under. And do not be surprised if Henry Martin even bags himself more goals than Viñas this season, if that's the case, because I think Viñas is going to be the one working with a lot more pressure, while Henry Martin is going to kind of have the luxury, if you want to say it, to be able to come off the bench or to be able to, start a game next to Viñas and not have so many eyes on him because they're going to be so focused on the Uruguayan striker. So I know you're shaking your head and saying, yes, Christian, do you want to elaborate a little bit more?
No, of course that, whether I think, not just Americanistas, but I think the whole league is kind of watching Viñas because, I would probably say 90% of the whole league thinks he's just a one-season wonder, that, we got lucky that he's not going to have the same season. While people don't understand this, if you don't watch America games regularly, is, Viñas just does more than, bag goal for us. Though, in this game, he got an assist, right? But he doesn't always have to be scoring to make his presence known. In almost every, well, not almost every single play, but pretty much when the ball gets to him, something happens. He creates, and that's something that we need from a striker like Viñas. And if we have a striker that can create and bag goals, we have ourselves one hell of a player.
We definitely do. And ultimately, a well-rounded matchup. And I think we were even messaging throughout this game. And Christian, you were like, well, we definitely look like we don't know what we're talking about once the score line read 4-0. But it's definitely a game in which you want to be wrong, right? And a game in which you're happy to easily, bite the pill and say, you know what, yes, we definitely got it wrong. But fortunately, America got it right in that situation. And, hopefully that they continue to, have these impressive type of games. Xolos was no easy matchup, even if it was really the second game coming into this Liga MX. Guardianes, and then now you're going up against Necaxa, which we'll preview. Necaxa's at the bottom of the table. This is a game where America's going to expect to win, and whether or not they can do that, we'll have to wait and see on Friday. But ultimately, America gives us a good performance, something to be happy about, and just ultimately an overall well-rounded game in which I don't think you can pick out a lot of things, and if you do, then there are things that can easily be improved on.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I mean, I'm happy with the result. Anyone else want to say anything in regards to this 4-0 win?
I just kind of want to hit back on Roger Martinez a little bit myself. Yeah, I will admit he had a good game, but I just feel like his shots sometimes were just, not very good. I feel like that's something he can work on. Yeah. He had one shot on target. And I think that one shot was just the one that Orozco saved, and then Henry tapped in. I mean, I look at this game and I feel like Roger could have had himself one, maybe 2 goals. Dare I say a hat trick? But that's just, I think that's just something that you got to look at too. Is when you have 4 shots off target for one player and only 1 on target, and the goal goes to somebody else. I just want to see him do better in that area.
I agree completely, definitely. But funny enough, Roger Martinez was crowned the. I guess America has this thing on practices that they stay and they start shooting, and the one who you have to score like every single one, and I think Roger did score every single one. I think only one hit the post or something. So definitely questions where that finishing was at last Saturday, but hopefully we do get to see, as the confidence level grows, maybe his shot accuracy will as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, defensively speaking, I think Ochoa only had to make 1 save, and that was already towards the end of that second half when America was already winning 4-0. So quite a night for the defense, but still good to see that they were doing good stuff. Anything else? Any one of you guys want to mention anything in regards to this game, or are we good?
I just wanted Roger to score a goal so badly. Like, as Dylan mentioned, he was trying to shoot the ball so many times. And I kept thinking to myself, just please, just 1 goal, Roger, please. I felt that's like he's happy to make the plays for his teammates and the assists. I think it was the assist that he gave to Bruno Valles when he just smashed into the back end net. He just did like this kind of like animation, and then he's just like, okay, good. But I kind of felt the same time he's kind of like, I want to score a goal so bad, because I feel like that could maybe be the confidence booster. Because, I feel like he's not a fanfare of this team, because I remember when he first signed into this America side, everyone's like, he's going to be the next big thing for America. Seasons later, everyone's like, please leave. But I feel like this season's a make it or break it for Roger Martinez. And I feel like if he can bag himself some goals along with the assists, perhaps that can maybe convince him enough to say, I'll stay here for sure. Bill's like, I'll let you stay in this team now. Let me give you the contract extension. Or this can be a highlight for him to say if teams in Europe are really interested in him, they can look at this season. They say, you want to pick this guy up? Go for it. He'll make an impact onto your team.
No, yeah, definitely. Like I mentioned, Roger just needs to feel the love sometimes, and I think that's definitely going to help him out confidence-wise. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. America wins 4-0, head top of the table, even though it's just only the second week, which I say kind of pace ourselves. All right, let's not get ahead of ourselves. And I know we're living high right now because we're at the top of the table, but we know America, anything can change. So America has to try to stay as constant as possible, but a good win nonetheless. And now America can shift over their attention to Necaxa, which will not be an easy game by any means necessary, even though Necaxa are at the bottom of the table. And we'll tell you why a little bit later on in the show. But let's move on into the next segment of today's episode. And before we talk Lady Aguilas, I want Christian to give us a little bit of an insight on what has happened in regards to las Aguilas del América, because there is a new player in Coapa, and he is ex-Real Madrid. So what better person than Real Madrid's #1 fan here to give us all the info. Christian, tell the people what's new with Sergio Diaz.
Sure. So, like Ivan mentioned, Sergio Diaz is officially now a Club America player. This was a player that America has been watching for a while now. Gained traction in beginning of the transfer market, died out a lot. But then recently, 2 weeks ago, it just picked up once again and finally made it official. There's a lot of people hesitant about this player, mainly because one, people think that his prime is past, but which is absurd to say because he's only 22 years old. So I don't know where fans are getting that. People are saying that he's just here to kind of just springboard his way back to Europe because he was at Real Madrid Castilla, trained with the first team, went on preseason with the first team. Didn't stick around, obviously. Went to Castilla, then went back to his home country to Cerro Porteño. Was on loan for there, and then now he's here. So I like what I've seen so far. Not just the highlight videos because highlight videos are never a good way to judge a player. I think it's important. It's important to kind of just look at past games and kind of single out their performance from that. So I have looked at a couple, not too much. I'm not gonna lie to any of you guys. From the little, but with the little that I've seen though, he's very interesting. This is a player who reminds me a lot of Miki Arroyo in the way that he loves to dribble the ball. A little bit of a ball hog though. So I mean that if that concerns anyone, that's something to work on definitely. But definitely an interesting player and can play multiple roles. But I think Herrera will mainly use him on the wing, which is what we need help with. So I'm really looking forward to Sergio Diaz. And in terms of playing time, he won't be available for this matchup. He will start practice tomorrow, and then will most likely be available for next week or for next match day after Necaxa.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is a loan,
Correct.
a 1-year loan
1 year
spell
loan.
with the option of purchase.
To buy, yeah.
Correct?
So America would like to buy Martinez. We have first bids on him, and there is a fixed price already for the purchase. They're saying around 5 to 7 million will be the price for Sergio Diaz. It's all up to his performance and whether he would like to stay or not. But overall, I think it's good that the board responded to the fans and to Piojo to bring in a new player because while we looked great, yesterday, last match day against Tijuana, we kind of have the tendency to not repeat that for a little
Yeah.
bit. Hopefully we can repeat it, against Necaxa, but where I'm getting at though, so we definitely needed some help and I'm glad he's here. In relation to more transfer news, Herrera said that the window is not closed yet for America. There is an option or a possibility to bring in more players. Now, there are names flying around. A lot of people want to see more offensive players, but I don't think that's the route America will be taking. They were talking about Mauro Lainez. Unfortunately, Mauro Lainez will not be coming this season due to him already playing with Tijuana. So he cannot join America anymore this season. As if he will, he would be deemed ineligible. Right now, they're looking at two Mexican center backs. I think everyone's familiar with Hector Moreno and Nestor Araujo. These are two, I guess, older players. And what I say in respect to these rumors, don't get your hopes up. While either one would be pretty interesting to have in America, right now I don't think that's the philosophy America is trying to go for. Like I mentioned earlier, two older players that can offer a lot, obviously. But I think right now America is kind of set on center backs. So this is why this rumors seem a little bit iffy to me, only because I think Bruno Valdez and Cáceres and or Aguilera, which I think leaning more to Cáceres, will be the center back duo for the season, right? So a player like Araujo or Moreno would obviously want a starter spot if they were to join Club America. So that's why, in my opinion, I don't think it would happen. But who knows? There's definitely still time in the window left. So don't be surprised if America brings in another player.
No, yeah, definitely. Well, we'll have to wait and see exactly what America has in store in regards to the transfer window. And like always, follow us over on Twitter, and Christian will keep you guys up to date with every news, even if it breaks at 3:00 in the morning. Christian is up and ready to go to get you guys all the latest news. And that pretty much wraps it up for this segment. Moving on over to our Lady Aguilas, and we've brought in AJ once again to give us all the insight of what is going on in Coapa land over there with the ladies. I know the schedule's out. Tell us how many days are left before the start of the season, AJ, and give us all the latest news in regards to all things Lady Aguilas.
So we got ourselves 8 more days until the season start. Well, for America, it's on Fridays, when they will be playing. But we got 8 more days, so I'm pretty excited for the return of the Liga MX Femenil, the Guardianes 2020 season. Some key some key matches I want to highlight. It's on the August 14th Friday. America Femenil will be starting their campaign off against Azul Femenil, which we will be having ourselves a Clásico Joven. It is going to be played at the Estadio 10 de Diciembre. Another match I would like to talk about as well would be América Femenil versus Pumas Femenil. This game will be taking place at La Cantera. Another match I'll also like to talk about will be on October 10th, which is against Tigres Femenil, which will be played at the Estadio Universitario. And last but not least, we have on November 16th, it will be América Femenil versus Chivas Femenil at the Estadio Akron. One thing I would like to even mention is that all these important games are away games. They're not going to be being played at Coapa or anything like that, so it's pretty interesting. There are 2 games in the schedule which I'm kind of confused to where will actually be played. So it's on October 19th, América Femenil will be playing against Las Rayadas, but on the Liga MX Femenil website, it was said to be playing at the Estadio Azteca, but América Femenil put on their schedule saying to be played at Coapa. The other match is on November 20th on a Friday, which is being played against Pachuca Femenil, also saying on the Liga MX Femenil website saying to be played at the Estadio Azteca. But the same thing is that the América Femenil put on their schedule at Coapa. So it's really unsure to whether the Femenil will be playing at the Estadio Azteca for those 2 matches, or they'll just be playing at Coapa like for the rest of their home games. Some important dates as well are the playoff dates. So the first leg of the quarterfinal will be played on November 23rd and the 24th. The second leg of the quarterfinal will be played on November 26th and the 27th. The first leg of the semifinal will be played on December 2nd and 3rd. And the second leg of the semifinal will be played on December 5th and 6th. And then finally, we have the first leg of the final, which is being played on December 10th. And the second leg of the final will be played on December 13th.
Okay, interesting. Quite the schedule. I did notice that, like you mentioned, America has quite the difficult season ahead in regards to away games. You'd imagine at least one of those games would have been at home. But it looks like all 3 clásicos are going to be away games. That should be an interesting matchup to see whether or not they're going to be able to cope with all that. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about the schedule? I know you guys have been able to see it. It just came out yesterday. How are we feeling, especially at the start of the season in comparison to the end of the season? The ladies got a little bit more of a mix schedule rather than the men's, where the men's, it's clear to see that the start of the season was going to be a little bit lighter than the end of the season. I think the ladies are just kind of a little bit everywhere. There's no really easy start or easy finish.
Mhm.
I don't know what you guys. Mm-hmm.
It just seems like a typical schedule to me. I think America will have to kind of just start, gunning from the start, which is what they're going to be normally used to doing. I think they have interesting players this year to kind of fill the void of a lot of missing players that left last year. But I don't expect America to let down. I think they're going to be a powerhouse this season and definitely be a contender for the title again.
No, yeah, definitely. Dylan, ladies, schedule is out. How excited are you for the start of the season? And what are your thoughts about some of the games that AJ highlighted?
Oh no, I'm really excited to see what this team could bring this season. Obviously, too, I know there's some confusion, whether some games are going to be played at the Azteca and Guapa. I thought it was pretty interesting too, just to point out that Chivas is the last game of the season, which I thought was kind of weird to me. I thought it'd be thrown in, maybe about around the middle of the season. But to start off with the Clásico Joven too, I think that's pretty exciting to see that. But I kind of noticed too, there's some of these games, you kind of play them like pretty quick. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of rest in between. So that'd be kind of interesting to see how everything's coped with and all this.
Yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of running and very short breaks in between each match. AJ, if you kind of want to fill us in a little bit about your thoughts in regards to kind of the season, having to catch up with the men's because they're starting a little bit later than usual, and trying to catch up and keep everyone kind of in sync in regards to the dates not clashing in regards to like the finals and stuff like that.
I mean, it's going to be pretty rough because I know, from the schedules, I know the first game is against ASU, but then they have to wait, I think, a whole 10 days to play against Atlético San Luis. And then, towards November, Thursday, November 5th, and they have Sunday, November 8th, and Monday the 16th. In between those days is maybe, 3-day rest or, 4. So it's kind of one of the things, I guess they're just trying to, get the season going as soon as possible before I guess with COVID breaking out even more in Mexico, so it's one of those things where they kind of just want to get the ladies going, just so they could try to complete their season as soon as possible. Because I feel like it'd be really crushing to see that if the season just gets canceled, like at the beginning or midway through the season, which would not be great for the feminine. But if we're talking about like regarding like to their opponents they got, I feel like America, in my opinion, this is me being cocky, they can go undefeated. There's been seasons where we've only lost maybe 2 games throughout the entire season. So I feel like it's definitely possible for us to go undefeated. But I'm also just kind of worried just for the Clásicos, the Clásico Joven, the Clásico Capitalino, and the Clásico Nacional, that they're all being played at away, but especially with no fans. I'm kind of like wondering, like, how's it going to be for the women's teams to just be playing without fans? I know in the NWSL they have done that, but I feel like maybe it could be more detrimental to some to the home teams or away teams. So you could say they don't have like any fans cheering for them. Yeah, we'll be supporting them from away, but I feel like maybe it could be one of those where they truly need the supporters to be by their sides cheering for them to give them that motivation to wanting to win the game.
No, yeah. I exactly I see where you're coming from in regards to this, and interesting that we see where AG's alliance falls, because I mentioned if America the men's could go undefeated, and he said no, that they could not, and I haven't even been able to ask the question, and he's already answered and he said yes. So this is very interesting. But no, I'm messing with you, AJ. But I think you're 100% onto something right there. The ladies definitely are gonna have a tough schedule in regards to the November. It's gonna be like March Madness, but in November. It's gonna be crazy because, like we mentioned, those dates are so kind of cramped into into each other. So hopefully, we have the squad depth, like Christian mentioned. We have everything that we need in order to establish a good dominant side, and well, we'll have to wait to see exactly. And talking about squad depth, and I know we just signed another player, AJ. Could you give us more details on who the new lady on the block is?
Oh, okay. So her name is Eva Gonzalez. She is a midfielder, which we've brought from Seton Hall University. She's a Mexican American midfield player, so she's just adding all herself along to the list of Mexican American players that are currently in America Femini. You got Janae Gonzalez, you got Jennifer Munoz, just names like that already it's already clicking ahead. And I already think about it, they probably got that connection already. You can add in Justin Orihel as well, Veronica Perez. I could already see that the communication is tight with them. And speaking of communication as well, Eva Gonzalez, she actually did used to play with some of the America Femenil players that are currently on this team. And for the under 17 for Mexico, for the women's side, she used to play with Janae Gonzalez, Renata Maciarelli, Monica Rodriguez, Montserrat Hernandez, and Cassandra Cuevas. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting to see that America has brought a player to the team that already has chemistry with I'd say half of the team already. So it's pretty nice to see that she can just get herself easily situated, get herself accustomed with all her teammates. Is concerned that she's played with them before, and her teammates played with her before, so they kind of have ideas like how she already plays.
That is going to be important in regards to building and establishing more chemistry in regards to everything. And it looks like the lady camp is one that you want to be at, because everyone just always seems to be smiling. They're always together, whether it's in training, outside of training. They look like a tight-knit family. And I think that's important. I think they've built and grown chemistry. Some of the kind of key figures have been around each other for such a long time, and they're growing and they're adapting to these kind of new situations and surroundings. And I'm really excited to see what this America team has in store. But quick prediction as to where you guys think this ladies team is going to end at the end of the season. I'll throw it to you first, AJ. What do you think in the table? Where do you see our ladies falling?
We're going first place.
First place. All right. I was hoping you would say first place, because if we're going undefeated, I would imagine first would have been there. All right, Christian, where do you think the ladies land after all games are played out?
Second place.
Second place. All right, Dylan, ladies.
I say they finish somewhere top 4.
Top 4. Doesn't want to put himself in a certain number. I'm gonna go with you, Dylan. I'm gonna say third place. I like how almost everyone here is more confident in the ladies finishing in the top 2 spot rather than the men's in regards to where their season's gonna be at. But it goes to show how much kind of confidence we have and how much of a tight knit circle we see that this team and the potential we see that this team can have. So we're excited. Mark your calendars down. August 14th, Clásico Joven, Cruz Azul versus America. Ladies, we're gonna be with you all the way, and make sure you guys stay in tune to all of that over on Twitter, and we'll keep you guys up to date with all things ladies Aguilas. So AJ, thank you so much for that update, and excited for this Guardianes 2020 season for the ladies to start off.
I'm ready.
Right.
I'm ready.
Yeah, we can't wait. It should be a fun one. Definitely a fun one. But without further ado, let's talk America versus Necaxa and wrap this all up. So, America has to go away over to Aguascalientes and go up against a Necaxa side that has not really showcased much at all in this Guardianes 2020 season. But, Christian, we know that in games like this, the opposition should not be taken lightly, especially when they're kind of in a rut, because whenever they do come against America, we know that they turn into the Manchester City, the Liverpools of the world, because for some reason, when they see an America badge, they somewhat crank the knob up to 10, and then we see them play a much better game than what even America anticipated. So how does America approach a game like this, in which you're riding high off of 2 wins, and then you have to go away and visit against a team that you know are struggling right now? How do you think America goes into this and says, okay, how do I make sure that I walk away with all 3 points here?
Simple. Play your game. America has been trying to start something, trying to kind of form a little bit of a play style. We saw a glimpse of it in the first game. We saw a lot of it in the second game. Now it's just to build off of that. In terms of lineups, I really think that Piojo will do the same thing, rinse and repeat. So I don't think there should be any surprises in terms of the lineup, but we'll get into it a little bit later. But just besides that, though, you just play your game. You know that you're better than the opponent. You know that they're coming in a little bit roughed up. A 3-0 loss to Tigres, and then 1-0 to Juarez. 10 men Juarez, by the way. And so you just got to take advantage of that. You got to take advantage that you are riding off a 4-0 win, and just use that momentum, play your game, and this game should be 3 points for us.
Definitely. Dylan, now, am I the only one going into this game more nervous than I was against Cholos? Or is it just kind of that nagging Americanismo in the back of my head that's saying something has to go wrong with America? Eventually, something has to go wrong, that I think that this America side is going to find a way to fumble it against Necaxa.
I think it's just you, man.
Okay.
I think you're just starting to overthink.
It's fine. I just need to hear that.
No. I mean, it's just. I feel like in some ways, you can't be spot on. Obviously you go back and look at that Pachuca game. It wasn't really necessarily the prettiest of games. And then all of a sudden you turn around and we play Cholos, and then, it seems like things are clicking and everything moving on all cylinders. And so you kind of wonder about this, about if it's a toss-up now for this game against Necaxa, which, you don't want it to be. I feel like this team won't let that happen, especially if this lineup's going to get repeated like Christian's predicting. And so I just don't see it going that way as of right now.
Definitely. AJ, you're one of the more optimistic people in this panel tonight. How are you coming into this one? How are you seeing this America side? You thinking that, with this lineup being repeated, as Christian is saying, that we're going to be able to walk away with not just 3 points, but a good, well-rounded match, just like we had against Cholos?
Most definitely. I mean, as you mentioned, Necaxa are struggling. I like to think one of the reasons that they don't have one of their main strikers, Mauro Quiroga, which they lost to Atlético San Luis. He was essentially leading that Necaxa team with all the goals. So I feel like with them having like a true forward in their presence, I feel like America could take advantage of this, since as the players don't really have that defense, or America don't have to be worrying so much for a deadly striker like Mauro Quiroga. And with the team that America has assembled, especially with the line that we had against Cholos, I feel like we could repeat the same performance that we had with Cholos against Necaxa. So I'm feeling pretty confident into heading into this matchup. Simply just thinking that they don't have Mauro Quiroga, I'm like, we can take full advantage of it, no problem.
No, yeah, definitely. We could all learn a little bit from your optimistics and your positivity here. And let's kind of just go with what we kind of the constant here is that this lineup is definitely going to be one that's not going to get touched, Christian. And if that's the case, can you tell the people what the lineup is going to be? And then after you do, can you explain to us exactly what it is that you think America is trying to establish here in regards to playing styles?
Sure. So I'll repeat the lineup again. We'll go with Ochoa and net. The back four will be Jorge Reyes, Bruno Valdez, Sebastian Cáceres, Luis Reyes. In the midfield, we'll have also Gonzalez and Richard Sanchez. On one wing, we'll have Chucho Lopez. On the other, Roger Martinez. In the camp position, Sebastian Cordova. And up top, we'll have Federico Viñas.
Interesting. Now, how do you think America is trying to? No, go ahead.
I just want to point out something funny. He said Jorge, and then he said Reyes, and so I started thinking like, who's Jorge Reyes?
Oh, my bad.
I had to think about it for a second. So I was like, who's Jorge Reyes?
You guys got the gist of what I was trying to say now.
Yeah, no, I do know, but I didn't at first.
All right, good. Just to point out one thing though, Escobosa will not be playing in this match. Supposedly he had an injury picked up in practice. I think Roger Martinez and Escobosa got into a little bit of a collision, so he's hurting from that. People want to know about Giovanni Dos Santos as well. Giovanni will not again be playing this weekend. He's still dealing with a minor muscle injury. So
at this point, it can't be minor.
Well, they're reporting as minor. I mean, I think we all know it's not minor, but just feeding off what people are saying. So, I don't know. It's just a little bit weird. What's going on with him since not a lot of press are reporting that he's not playing, but they're not explaining why he's not playing. I get it's an injury, but like you said though, it can't be minor though. So there has to be something a little bit bigger to that. No.
Yeah, it's interesting because now you even question exactly what the club puts out, because remember they were asking a lot about Santi Cáceres through the preseason, and there was like, oh, he's got a little bit of an injury.
Suarez right now is another player,
Yeah.
So he might not be featuring on the bench. It's still a little bit of a game time decision for him, but as of right now, he's not going to be there. But the question is, why not? If he was playing in the preseason, right? So it's just raising a little bit of questions like what's going on, why they're not being as transparent as they need to be with us. But I guess we'll get answers in due time.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Definitely have to wait and see. But let's talk a little bit about America's playing style and exactly what Piojo's trying to implement with having kind of this lone striker, Cordova in kind of like this cam position, and having Roger out on the wing with another winger. At this point, is going to be Chucho Lopez. But talk to me, Christian, exactly what do you see the team implement well, and what do you think they still need to iron out in regards to kind of finalizing that gameplay that we want to see?
Sure. So I really do like the way that Herrera's having Cordova play, especially in that Cholos match. Now, while I have said in the past that I like Cordova in that camp position because of his offensive capabilities and his long range shooting and his creativity, while that's great and that's something that we need because we lack desperately, I also like the fact that he kind of backtracks and puts in defensive labor as well. If you rewind and watch that first goal, Cordova actually tries to make the initial defensive play, and he actually succeeds, only to kind of have the ball, have a lucky rebound, and get it to a Cholos player, which then the Cholos player makes a really bad mistake. Bounces off also Gonzalez, theoretically, leaves it to Richard Sanchez, and then the history. But I really like that Cordova has that kind of cemented in his mind that while he is there for offensive creativity, but he is, he also knows that he has to track back and kind of crash into that midfield and kind of help out in those defensive labors. And I think that while Alexi said that we don't Necaxa don't have Quiroga, but they do have Maxi Salas, and that's also a very dangerous player for them. So I think if they have find a way to kind of limit him and limit what he can do with his teammates, I think America should be in a good position to win this match.
No, yeah, definitely. AJ, anything to add on in regards to that?
I think Christian just nailed it out perfectly. If the defense could just make sure Salas is not doing anything at all, and with every other player every player like in the midfield and forward doing their job, we could just secure the victory pretty easily, in my opinion.
No, yeah, definitely. But Dylan, Necaxa's always been a difficult ground for us to go out and try to get all 3 points. And it's always been like that for America ever since Necaxa left the Estadio Azteca. It's always been difficult for us to go away over there and walk away with all 3 points. Do you see it playing out differently though this time? Do you think with what AJ and Christian just talked about in regards to how America is kind of planning itself to play out, that this game is going to be one where America, as long as, like AJ said, as long as the defense can do their part and shut out the little bit of attacking power that Necaxa has, that America can easily coast home to 3 points?
No, I definitely do agree with that, and you have to look at that. I mean, you have to be optimistic for this team. Shoot, I've said it before. You get an ugly win against Pachuca, and then you come off and you get a great win against. Obviously, we talked about some things that it can be ironed out a little bit more, but I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, the plan seems pretty simple, but then again, at the end of the day, simple is the hardest thing to do, and playing simple is not always easy. And so it's just kind of going to come down to every player that's on the pitch too. Every player's got to do their part. This back line, I feel like, will be maybe tested a little bit. It probably will be. So it's just kind of see if Bruno, everybody else can step up in that back line, especially Bruno leading it. The midfield, I think, will be solid. And then, let's see what Cordova and Venus can do up top.
Yeah, and I think this is definitely going to be a game in which I think a lot of eyes going to be on Vinas and whether or not he's able to capitalize on this opportunity and hopefully can bag himself a couple of goals,
Yeah, I would like to see that. Then I feel like you get a striker competition even going more heading into the season.
No, yeah, definitely. All righty, well, gentlemen, let's talk predictions because this match is going to be played out on Friday. So that doesn't give us much time to put this out and have a lot of people listen to it. But for the people that do, give me your prediction, AJ, on what you think is going to be the result this Friday.
I'm going with my 3-0. I'm gonna have Royer score.
Okay.
I'm gonna have Royer scoring his brace, and I'll have Federico Viña scoring goal.
Okay, all right, 3-0. This guy's confident. I like it. Christian, prediction:
2-0 America.
2-0 America. I like it. So far, so good. Dylan,
I'll take a 2-0 win for America.
2-0 win. Alrighty, I'm gonna join AJ in the 3-0 just so that way it's tied 2-2 here. And all I'm saying is that we're predicting another clean sheet, and that is exactly what I want.
That's fine. I mean, just more, I guess, confidence building for the back line and goalkeeper.
Do you want it, or do you want it for Ochoa?
Do you what?
I said, do you really want it, or do you really want it for Ochoa?
On that, I will say this. I think everyone that's listened to this podcast knows the answer to that question.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty much.
All righty, guys. You guys can catch that game on Friday night. That is going to be at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Central, and 10 o'clock Eastern time. Christian, I know you do like those late p.m. games. Make sure you guys head over onto Christian. You look at me funny. Did I get the time wrong?
I thought the game was 8:30 my time.
I swear I thought I had read 7:30.
That's all.
It's okay.
That's all. Look up the schedule.
Professional than this.
Let's all look it up, but I'm pretty sure I thought I saw it 8:30.
I have it right here
on a Friday night.
8:30 p.m.
8:30.
It's 8:30 your time. My bad. So that is 5:30. That 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, 7:30 Central time, 8:30 Eastern time. That is still somewhat of a late game, but
it's all right. I like the late games. Friday night with the cold, beverage. It's gonna
with
be,
a cold Nesquik in his hand is what he's trying to say. Okay, it's a family show.
Cold.
Pura agua.
There you go. AJ's got the gist of it all. But yeah, you guys can catch all the latest all the latest action in regards to that game over on Twitter.
Dylan knows what I'm talking about.
Eagle Eye Podcast. Dylan definitely knows. Look at that. He is sitting in the dark. He's
the only one that approves of my comment.
So yeah, make sure you guys go follow us over on Twitter. AJ, where can they find you so they know exactly what you're gonna be tweeting about?
You could find me at the Blue Creams on Twitter.
So make sure you guys go check him out as well. He's going to keep you guys up to date with all things Lady Aguilas. And of course, that game on Friday, all things men's as well. Gentlemen, we're almost going to wrap up the show here. But seeing as it is a very special day in the Americanismo community, I did want to ask one question before we wrap things up. As you guys know, it is a certain player's birthday, an ex-America player's birthday, Salvador Cabañas, someone that I know here, at least three of you grew up watching. I know, Dylan, you didn't have quite the fortunate pleasures to be able to see Cabañas because you weren't kind of vested in the team as of the time that he was playing. Although I know you have seen a couple of his highlights. Gentlemen, just quickly before we wrap it up, I want you to give me your favorite Salvador Cabañas memory, whether that be a goal, an assist, something he did on the pitch, whatever it is. Just give me that one highlight that's always going to stick to you in your mind with Salvador Cabañas. Go ahead, Christian.
Definitely the goal to kind of seal the comeback in that 3-0 win in the Copa Libertadores. That free kick goal will always be installed in my head. I'm pretty sure you guys all know what I'm talking about, right? Please go
yes,
on.
Against Flamengo.
Yes, against Flamengo. Yes, there you go. That was a very rough moment for America that season. We weren't really we were expected to do anything in Libertadores, and when the first game happened at the Azteca and we got absolutely wrecked, no one thought we could do this. No one thought that we can go into Brazil and pull off the miracle, and we actually did. But that free goal to kind of seal it all was immense, and just how he was so cold right after the goal, like it's something that he's done before. Definitely shows you the type of player that he was, and just every single time I watch highlights of this player, it just makes me miss him even more because this definitely would have been. He is an America legend now, but this would have just extended his legacy to a whole nother level. So that's definitely that's definitely my best memory of him.
Definitely. AJ, favorite memory of Cabañas?
I'm gonna break people's hearts. I've actually never experienced Salvador Cabañas ever play.
Oof.
Oh well, I mean,
Oof.
you're in the same boat as Dylan then.
America fan since 2013, the Chucho days.
Oh, okay, I see.
Not a bad
That
player.
was also Dylan.
Hey.
But have you seen the highlight, or do you know exactly what we're talking about when we?
No, not actually at all. Now that you're speaking about Salvador Cabañas, I should really take the time to actually look up highlights on him. I know my father always used to talk about Salvador Cabañas. He's been an America fan, I can remember, since probably the 90s and the 80s. So he would have a recollection of all that.
Wow, now that's awesome. Alrighty, well, you got some homework to do, my man, and
Yeah, for real.
give us a one-page essay as to why Salvador Cabañas deserves the number 9 framed. But Dylan, do you have a highlight, or should I skip you as well?
Yeah, you just skip me.
Alrighty then. Alrighty. Well, my favorite memory of Cabañas is when America was playing against Guadalajara, and Cuauhtémoc Blanco gets fouled, and Cuauhtémoc Blanco, being Cuauhtémoc Blanco, is smart enough to notice as he's getting fouled that Cabañas is kind of alone and is making a run, gets up, takes the free kick, gives it to Cabañas. Cabañas just always had such an ease to just numb the ball with his chest, put it on his foot, whether it's right or left. He knew he was always going to find the top bins, and he ended up doing that. And I think that's always going to be one of my favorite memories too, because just such a crucial player and such a finisher as well. So that's definitely something. But let us know your guys' favorite memory in regards to Salvador Cabañas and any other memories you guys want to share with us over on Twitter or Instagram. We'd love to hear exactly what it is that these players marked in your guys' lives. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for us. Anyone else want to say anything before we wrap things up? No? Alrighty then. Okay then. Well, we've taken enough of your guys' time. Catch us over on Friday in regards to all things Las Aguilas del América against Necaxa. And we'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Stay safe, wear your masks, and if by some weird chance you get a storm, stay indoors. Alrighty then. Everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful time. We'll see you guys. Take care. And as always, Arriba la América. Goodbye, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the number one source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.